Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Lynn and today I'm going to be making a tri-fold tunnel card, and I've never made one of these before, but I think that it's pretty simple to do. So you just need any nested shape die that you may already have in your stash, and I chose some heart dies because this will be a Valentine's Day card. So the size card I'm making is USA 2, so my card base is 4¼ by 5½, and I have this panel here, which will be the second panel that you see, that's cut to 4¾ by 5½, so that I have a hinge that I can use to attach to my card base. And this is how I've started to line up my dies. So I just tear off a extra long length of just blue painter's tape, but any low tack tape will do. And then I use my grid mat to line up my my panels, and that way I get perfect alignment, and it seems to be working out great for me ever since I started doing it. So I'll also apply this just a dotty pattern cover plate. This adds a little bit of extra texture, similar to what an embossing folder would do for you, but it doesn't actually create a raised edge, so it's more of a visual texture. Although if you run your fingers across it, you'll feel that pierced pattern a little bit, but it's a little bit more subtle than an embossing folder. But it's nice because it does have a little bit more pattern to it. So for me, I like using cover plates like these or an embossing folder so that it doesn't look so kind of empty in a way, but that's just a personal preference. And what I'll do is just die cut out a couple more hearts that I'll also use to layer up and just embellish my card a little bit with. And what I was going for was actually to cut out a frame for the light pink layer, but I nested a smaller die into the die that I used to cut out that heart aperture, but where I really should have picked the next larger die, and so I'll go ahead and do that now. So I've got the original size die that cut out of my light pink layer, and then one larger, and that's going to create a black frame, which is that piece there, but then I'll also have a small heart also in black. So that gives me a couple different options for decorative hearts that I can add. And I'm using a set of nested heart dies from Tonic Studios. If it's still available for sale anywhere, I'll try to find it and link to it and anything else that I use to create this card in the description box below. But the main image is really cute. It's from Stampendous. They are sponsoring the Passionate Paper Creations and Friends Facebook group. If you've never heard of this group, I'll leave a link to it in the description box below as well. Pop on over, join the group if you haven't already, because you'll see tons of inspiration, and it's a fun place to share your crafty makes and see a lot of inspiration from not just our sponsors, but all sorts of craft brands, because everybody's welcome to share any of their makes. And if you pop on over, there'll also be a promotion from Stampendous, so you want to check that out if you are curious to check out this stamp set, which is in the House Mouse line of characters from Stampendous, and this one's called Heart Treats. And I would never think of mice as cute, but these guys are definitely cute. So I'll show you that again, how I like to line up, because what I'll do here is this pink layer is the matte layer that's going to go on top of my card front. And so what I'll do is I always have to double check this. So I'm putting my left finger where I need to line up my card front. And I'm lining up the top left corner there. And this is me just double checking. It's sort of my way of measuring twice, cutting once. And now I know that that heart die is in the perfect location to match up with my pink panel, which I'll layer on top of it. And if you're cutting into your card front, be sure to open up your card and ensure that you're not cutting through both layers, your front and the back or the inside of your card. And so I think now I've pretty much got all of the bits and pieces to start to assemble my card. So I'll start by putting my light pink layer on my card front. And when I make tunnel cards, I like to go from light to dark as you're looking down into the tunnel. And so you also want to go from your larger aperture down to smaller aperture. And I do end up with, I'm working from a pre-made card base, which I don't think is exactly cut to 5.5. So I keep on having to trim off a little bit from my colored cardstock panels, but that's okay. You can use a craft knife, utility blade like I'm using, or just a pair of scissors. And sometimes I even take it to the guillotine and just chop through the card base also if I really want everything to be super level. And I'll go ahead and start to embellish the front of my card. So I've got my black frame here, and that's going to go outside of the aperture that I have cut into my card front. And it's nice because it's sort of almost like a faux extra layer to the tunnel, because when you look at this, you'll see that black as well as the pink on the outside and then the red. So I think it's just a nice added little touch. And so I've scored my extra panel here that has the hinge. So I've got this, it's either a 3/8 inch hinge or 1/2 inch. I think it might be 3/8 of an inch. So whatever width your card base is, just add an extra 3/8 to 1/2 of an inch to that and score at that in order to have this folded hinge. And that's how we're creating our trifold. A lot of times I'll see people create this also by using 2 card bases and just gluing an entire panel onto that inside panel, which you could definitely do as well. It makes your back panel nice and super strong, but I prefer to do it this way. And it does leave you with a hinge that's visible, but I'll be covering that up with another panel that has my stamped image on it. And in order to have this close and lay super flat, I've just trimmed off a little bit of the second flap, the red panel. That way it's not crossing over into the fold of the card base, and it can sit completely within the card and have everything fold down nice and flat. So with my extra hearts, I'll go ahead, and I have so much space below this card that I'll add those extra hearts as additional embellishments. And the reason why I did position the aperture so high up is because I only wanted the top little mouse to be visible when the card is closed. And it's only until you open the card up completely that you see the full effect or the full scene of this card. So I did stamp and color that onto a separate panel that's cut to 4 1/4 by 5.5. Although along that 4 1/4 inch side, I did have to trim off about a 1/16 to 1/8 of an inch off. Again, that's so that it can sit between the 2 folds and not cross into those folds. And that way your entire card can fold down nice and flat. And I do have this extra sentiment that is part of the Crafter's Companion Advent Calendar from 2021. It had 3 stamps that were sort of conversation heart sentiments, and so I've used 2 of them. I think Be Mine and Love You. And as I stack and layer these hearts, I did cut a little bit of an extra layer just so that things can adhere a little bit more flush to the card, since I've got so many hearts layered on top of each other. And with the light pink layer, I have a little sort of shadow layer that I've cut out of black cardstock that I've adhered but sort of offset it a little bit. Because it's the same pink as my card panel, that black shadow layer helps to just, you know, pop it off of the page a little bit better. And then I still have some leftover hearts, so I'm going to continue to embellish the second panel as well, the red panel. And so this will have some hearts strewn about, and as well the Be Mine sentiment, which I'll add to it too. So so that way every panel has something, in this case, something a little extra that you don't see initially. And it's only when you start to open up the panels that you reveal more and more until you see that final full image of, you know, the little mouse on top of the candy dish. And I colored this in pretty simply. I just used my color pencils, and instead of, I know candy conversation hearts are usually in a variety of different colors, but I chose to make my dish just full of the white and pink conversation hearts. That way I can keep with the color scheme of my entire card. I hope that you enjoyed this card, and if you did, please consider liking, commenting, and sharing. Don't forget to pop on over to the Passionate Paper Creations and Friends Facebook group, and if you want to catch new videos as I publish them, click the subscribe button and ring the notification bell. Thanks so much. Until next time, happy crafting and have a fantastic day. Bye.